Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Wyman Grover, and if you're here, this is S.L. Wyman's Rockin' Writing, and if you're just coming by, hello and welcome, glad you're here, and if you're a returning person, thank you very much, I appreciate it, especially with the last couple of videos being the rambles that they have been, so that you guys come back and still watch these, even though I know some of them have been just all over the place and more me talking about videos I'm gonna make instead of making them. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Although I do intend to actually make more videos talking about music. I mean, because I have a channel named S.L. Wyman's Rockin' Writing, and I've had it for almost 2 years, and I still haven't done a single thing for that or an actual live yet. Weird. We're gonna have to fix that, but that's not why we're here today. Why we're here today is I'm going to talk a little bit about the Lightseer's Tarot. I honestly had a big debate over what video I wanted to do today because I know my camera and I know my phone and I know I only have about 20 or so minutes worth of time to talk before my camera and my phone start getting a little dicey. So I kind of have to do one thing at a time. Otherwise, well, not only that, if I didn't, you'd wind up with 2-hour-long rambles of just anything and everything. But there's so many tags I want to do and so many videos I want to do that I had squirrel brain. It took me forever to kind of calm down and focus and figure out what I wanted to do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Lightseer's Tarot. I'm not going to do a full flip through. It's been out there for a while. It's a big, huge, popular deck. There are flip-throughs all over the place. I'm not going to do a flip-through necessarily. But I just want to talk a little bit about using it a little bit because I have been participating in the Lightseer's Tarot study group over at the Abundant Life Tarot Facebook group. If you have not checked out Kim from Abundant Life Tarot, if you haven't checked out her channel, you really should. She's got a lot of wonderful content about curating your deck collection so you don't go all grabby with all of the decks. She's got a wonderful setup of videos to kind of walk you through different cards of different decks that she's done different studies on. A lot of fun live. She's very personable, very sweet person. You really should check her stuff out. If my butt can actually get technological enough to do it, oh my god, what are words? If I can get my tech together enough to do it, and if I can get my squirrel brain to remember to do it, I'll make sure to try to link both of those in the comments below or in the description. Either way, that way you guys can kind of follow along and find her channel because she deserves every subscriber she gets. She's a wonderful person. But anyway, I acquired my copy of the Lightseers mostly because of the hubbub. I'm not gonna lie. I've since quit doing that kind of stuff, but at the time it was one of those, you know what, everybody keeps talking about this deck. You know what, let's kind of find out what the whole thing is. So I purchased a copy off of Amazon, and oddly enough, it's a perfect travel size deck. It's this wonderful little deck. I love it. But I purchased it off Amazon, and I've been working with it, and I actually found that I really enjoyed it. My first couple of, forays into it using the guidebook, which, by the way, if you do not, the Lightseers was made by Chris Ann. I'm really hear so many wonderful things about her in the tarot community, and quite frankly, if you haven't got one of her guide, this deck is worth it for the guidebook alone, because you can use so many of the things she has, like in her field notes, because every deck comes with like a field note section, where you can really get in depth with each card. There's so many things you can do to connect with your deck that she mentions, and I tried that with this, and holy crap, it was impressive. So that's kind of partially what I'm going to walk you through today. It's just basically how this has been working with this deck. And you could tell I was all in because I literally cracked open my little You Got This notebook just to do that, because it has even color-coded the pen. Because the backs have that beautiful blue. So this kind of made me think of blue, which I will at least show the backs. That's what what the backs of the deck look like. If you have not seen them, and we'll be showing you some of the cards here, but I'm not going to go, like I said, not a flip through. But anyway, so right away, you open the field notes. You have this little section where it talks about pulling your light card and your shadow card as a way to connect with the deck. Kind of, okay, this is the card that, essentially you go through the whole deck and you lay out the cards that you like. You like the cards that are meh. The cards you love. And then the cards that either you don't, cards you don't like or aren't real, don't really resonate. And then once you've got that done, you flip through the don't resonate and the loves, and you find the one card in the love pile that's just like, oh my God, I love this card. This is really speaking to me. That's your light card. Then you go through the ones you didn't like, and you find the one that's the most challenging to you. That's your shadow card, and you work with them to figure out why. Well, I kind of turned it into an exercise of a whole light court, dark court thing, which we'll go through, but I thought I would start out by showing you the card that I wound up with for my light card, and that was the Chariot. This is one of the best depictions of the Chariot I've seen in a very long time. I love it because it's dynamic, it's energetic. We're actually going somewhere, doing something. And I have a long time in my brain. I have a hard time, because I know technically the Chariot is supposed to be associated with Cancer, if I'm not mistaken, and Temperance is supposed to be associated with Sagittarius, which is my sign. But in my head, they've always been flipped. Because Sagittarius, we are flighty. We are the flightiest of the fire signs. We are the most airy of fire you will ever see. We're always flitting from one thing to another. And that motion, this kind of encapsulates that to me. Especially this depiction of the Chariot. That screams Sagittarius to me. I don't know why. But I really like it. So I did a deep dive into this card. And I love, the black and the white and the energies and how he's literally got his hand on the reins, even though he's kind of riding recklessly at the top there. So that's kind of a nod to the downside of the Chariot. But I love that. No, he's fully in control. He knows what he's doing. He knows where he's going. And that's an energy I have always wanted to step into because I'm always unsure. And it always takes me forever to gather my energies in and rein them in and actually direct them and focus them to actually make something happen. Now, the shadow card probably isn't going to be a surprise because I'm sure it's a lot of people's shadow card. And that's the Three of Swords. Now, it originally was calling for you to find a card that you hadn't, I don't like that card. I don't really have any of that with this deck, but what I do have is, do the images make me uncomfortable? Or why? Or does the energy of it make me uncomfortable? And a little here, not so much because it's the Three of Swords, but more because of the raw emotion that is behind that card. That's why it's a shadow card for me. I don't handle pain and grief and loss and big catastrophes very well. I tend to be somebody that takes a while to kind of heal up from that. Even though I mask really freaking well and you wouldn't know things are wrong. If you see the mask crack, things are really bad. We'll put it that way. So, this is hard, not necessarily because of what it is, because of course heartbreak and grief and loss hit hard, but where that really hit me more was more in the drama, more in the, here's what you're hiding, here's all that raw emotion that you're hiding and trying not to deal with and trying not to get out into the world. So that was actually, I felt that would be actually really a good card to work with for that. Not necessarily because I have any objections to any of the cards in the tarot deck. They're all there for a reason, and you have to deal with the bad as well as the good. But just that depiction especially, really just the raw emotion, again, it's hard to deal with. So I thought that would be a great card for that, for Shadow Words. That's the one I've been using for that. So what I will do is just kind of flip through the rest of my light court if you want to call it that, and we'll do the shadow one. I actually, when I did this too, it was so funny. There are actually very few cards that are challenging or that have emotions that are really tricky to work through for me. But it was interesting to see the ones that did. But in the light court, the first one was the moon. I love this depiction of the moon because she's literally, it really speaks to that ethereal, dreamy, not quite there. Not, is it real? Is it not? Are we asleep? Are we awake? Because of how different things can feel at night or in dreamscape, how there's that not quite tangible feel. And I love how this card personifies that. So that's how that got there. This one was not originally in the light court. I put it in there because this sucker came up. No less, I kid you not, every time I was doing readings with this. This came out no less than 3 times, maybe 4. Over the course of 3 or 4 weeks. This came up at least once a week, usually in reverse. So, she and I are getting to know each other pretty well, so I have actually moved it into this court because I've actually developed quite a fondness for this card. Just because of it, that good, tangible, visible reminder, and the way they depicted that reminder of, hey, you're stronger than you think you are. You have a lot of strength inside you. All you gotta do is know how to tap into it. So I love that. And then 4 of Swords. I don't know what it is about this depiction, particularly of the 4 of Swords. I just love it. It's restful. It's peaceful. It feels very womb-like to me. Very, safe, cocooned. Okay, we're taking a break. We're at least got a breather. We can shove everything outside for just a little bit. I really like that. The 9 of Pentacles. I don't know what it is. First of all, just hello, representation. It is wonderful to see a very realistic, real person depicted. Not only that, look at that beautiful natural hair. Look at that gorgeous freaking smile on her face. Look how happy she is. If this does not scream the positive side of 9 of Pentacles and that abundance, I smile with her. I want to hang out in that garden with her and chill out with her and her pet owl. Just looking at that. I love the energy of this card. And then this one just for the colors alone. This is the 3 of Wands. Just that fiery pinks and magentas and purplish pinks and reds and yellows and orange. It just makes me think of sunset on a Hawaiian beach, and she's gonna go surfing. And I kind of want to be there because that looks like a lot of fun. So that's how that got there. And this depiction of the 6 of Wands kind of speaks for itself. Just that triumphant, happy, I did it. I'm on stage and I just delivered a great performance. I just aced whatever it was I was doing. I love that energy. It's great. And I'm talking about representation again. I love these next 2 because there's so much ageism in so many decks. You don't see older people depicted a lot. And you definitely don't see them depicted in a beautiful light or a positive light. You might see them depicted in a very soft, gentle, respectful light, but you don't often see the beauty depicted. But these next 2 cards, I think really hit that, and I like it. I can't explain it any much better than that. And the first one is the King of Swords. First of all, owl. Me and owls. And ravens. But he just looks like a chill dude. I mean, yeah, he's got that sword there. King of Swords definitely is not a dude to be mucked with, but at the same point, look at him. He's just having a zen moment. Up there on the mountaintop, just chilling out. And I love that energy. I love that vibe. He is not at all bothered by the white in his hair. He's, none of that has affected. I love it. I love that. And it's kind of the same with the next one, King of Pentacles. I mean, first of all, look at the cute doggo in the front. You gotta love that. How can you not love that? Just that chilling at home with your pet. Relaxing, just making the most of those moments, making those good memories, making that time to be slow and gentle. And because those memories are what's going to carry you through, not the money, right? Gives you a whole new perspective on what's wealth, what's abundance. And I love that. And he's so just comfy with everything about himself, with his age, his appearance, with his environment. And I love that. I love that. I want to see more of that with people. And this next card, now speaking of Kim from Abundant Life Tarot, this card always reminds me of her because she looks a lot like her, the Queen of Pentacles does. But just look at how she's stunning. She's absolutely stunning. And she's just calm and happy. And this is the lady you want to sit down and have tea with because she's got a nice, relaxed outlook on life and she's got a lot of good advice to tell you. Right? I love that. This card is the one that makes me giggle, but for a lot of different reasons, but it's the Knight of Cups. I love this guy. This guy is definitely out there. He's definitely there to steal your heart. He's got the roses. He's got the, really nice love letter. He's got the bottle of wine and the picnic. He's even got the horse to sweep you off your feet in the background. And if that does not just capture the energy and the essence of what the Knight of Cups is like, I don't know what does. So I like it. And I'm going to do this one next because the last one was another one that got added as a surprise. Page of Wands. Again, motion, doing something. So one thing about the RWS that I've always had an issue with is it's so static. People are just kind of standing still. There's not a whole lot of movement. There is a ton of movement here. She is celebratory. She is dancing. She is, out there experiencing things. And that's very page energy to me. Speaking of pages, I found my significator in this deck. And it's the Page of Swords. I wasn't so much behind the card until I read the description of what it means. And it's that evergreen student, that person who's the consummate student, who is constantly curious, always learning, always with ideas and thoughts, just going a mile a minute everywhere and walking around, with their nose in a book. Yeah. So, kind of had to include that one in the light court after a while. And I love the depiction. So now we're going to skip to the harder ones. We're going to go to the dark court. And these are the ones whose energies that, if I haven't had the chance to do it, I'm going to be sitting with a little bit. Just to kind of work through some of my own issues with these. I've already showed you the Three of Swords. Of course, my little friend, the Tower. Anybody who knows the readings I do knows I'm always like, oh, God damn it, not you again. But, especially with this one because it's animals, me, kids and critters. Lightning struck tree with all the animals having their home disrupted. That really hits hard. I'm not great with change. I'm not. And the Tower is definitely a change to the point of shakeup. It is to the point of things are not going to be the same after this. And I always have trouble with it because the Tower always has so many it implies a rough time. Good lessons, but a rough time. So I'm still kind of coming to terms with my feelings about that card in general, but that's a really great depiction of it. I really thought this was a powerful depiction of the Five of Pentacles. Now I'm going to move my freaking finger so you can see what I'm about to talk about. Do you see the little key in the keyhole? She can get herself out of this. All she's got to do is just pick her head up. She's buried in her own misery right now. But if she would pick her head up, she could go unlock the door. She doesn't need to be out in the cold. And that energy, I get that. Sometimes it's really hard to realize that everything you need is actually right there. Now, Two of Swords. Again, decisions. God, I hate that when your thoughts are just going a million miles a minute. You can't make a decision no matter what you try. Or you're just like, no, I'm overwhelmed, so I'm just going to put the blindfold on. I'm not making decisions right now. I'm done. I've had my quota. So I get the energy of this card a lot. It's one I frequently have to work through. So that one was kind of a triggering. Not triggering, that's the wrong word. I shouldn't be using that unless it's like a real, genuine, because that downplays too much of the actual impact of that word. So let's not use triggering, let's just use confronting. That's probably a better word for it. And then, well, Nine of Swords, Nightmare card. What can I say? My mind is its own worst enemy sometimes, and we all have to fight through that. And I think this is a great depiction of that, of how if you would, your mind can be your worst enemy, and sometimes you have to fight your own mind just to have a little bit of peace. So I get that, and that's a rough energy for me a lot of times. And then the Eight of Cups, not the imagery, but more what the Eight of Cups represents. And what I like is you can kind of see the little bubbles there, where the cups are submerged. It's really hard to walk away from something you've built and put a lot of energy into, even when you know it's not serving you. And I always have trouble knowing when enough is enough and when something isn't serving me and I need to walk away from it. So, big card for me there. And this is probably one of my favorite depictions of the Eight of Swords, because it's a lot like the Two of Swords, just that tied up in knots, anxiety all over the place, can't make a decision, can't get your thoughts straight, to calm down, to quit racing in order to just break those bonds, see clearly, calm down, and see things for what they are and actually make a decision. I struggle with this a lot, so this one really kind of was another one. Not necessarily, again, not the art, not confronting, just something that, okay, that's a rough emotion for me personally to deal with, so it needs to go there. So that's something I can work with. Maybe I need to work with that particular imagery around that in order to see if I can confront some things about myself, because shadow work is a thing. Some days it's not easy. And I'll be the first to admit I'm not perfect. Plus, it isn't fun, let's be honest, because it brings a lot of things to the surface you'd rather not have there. But anyway, so those are some of the cards that I pulled that first day, and I've been kind of slowly working with them. Eventually, I'm going to actually do spreads with them to kind of delve into their energies a little bit. After taking a little bit of break, because I've kind of done a lot with this deck over the last couple of weeks. I mean, I've filled up quite a few pages of just, as you can see, just this whole spreads, spreads and notes. So I think I'm going to wind up taking a little break, and then I might come back and literally just pull out each of these cards and start doing spreads around them just to see what happens. But overall, I actually have a much deeper appreciation for this deck now, and I understand why people actually connect with it the way they do and why it's talked up the way it is. I get it now. Is it my absolute favorite deck? No. Is it ever going to be in my top 10 decks of all time? Probably not. But is this a deck that I would absolutely reach for to do a reading for anybody, anytime, on any subject, because it covers the gamut? Yes. This is a perfect, all-around, really solid, just good workhorse deck. And, you know, I honestly feel like every collection needs at least one of those. So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts, rambly as they are. I don't really know how well this all turned out as compared to what my mind envisioned this video to be, but there are my thoughts, such as they are. I will not only be putting this up on my channel, but I will be linking it to the group that's been studying this, so they can kind of see my thoughts and where I've been at. I would share a few more of my spreads, but I've already shared those in that group quite a bit. I did some really big ones. One of my favorite ones was my spread I did on the strength card, because it came up so often. I did a stalker spread on it to kind of find out, okay, why do you keep coming up? What lesson and is being hammered home to me here? And then basically it was just stepping into your own power. Don't doubt yourself the way you do. Be strong. And that's the biggest thing that I'm taking away from this deck, is it's also without being really super love and light and fluff bunny. It's a really positive deck in the end. Even the shadow work is more of a positive, the shadowy aspects are more positive. So it's overall really great deck. I would definitely recommend it. Even to somebody just starting out, really. Just because the energies and the images, it's the closest thing to a modern deck I have, and they really connect. And I think that this is great because you can use it for anybody, anytime, anywhere. Like I said, it's a good workhorse. So, there are my thoughts. Take them or leave them. I'd love to hear yours below. Agree, disagree? Let's get some things rolling in the comments. I'm actually up to 72 subscribers now, and that just, wow. Just thank you guys. Thank you. Because I was not expecting that when I started this. I was honestly expecting this to just be a little, we're just going to have a little bit of fun, and if I get like 10 people that are friends and family that are going to follow me because I know you in real life kind of thing. But the fact that it's gone this far, that means a lot to me. So thank you very much. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you have, like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff, because the YouTube algorithm is a jerk. Maybe you'll keep going if I keep getting this interest. I'll keep doing it because I have fun. So thank you guys. Have a good day. Be safe out there, all right? Catch you next time.